next. I figured this is the one we wanted. Okay. This is it, guys. This is the big one. So, last session. You guys have faced much. You guys had a very bold plan. It was a three-pronged attack that required everybody to do their part. And to achieve, basically, for each of the three of you to solitarily go off with a group of capable individuals and achieve the impossible. So you did, because that's what had to be done. Etherith had to sneak away from the battle with his little coven and infiltrate the vault, the safeguarded place of the phylactery of Vlaakith. And so Etherith did, through magic and guile and capable powers, managed to infiltrate deep within the vault, find the phylactery, figure out how it may be destroyed, and returned back to the main throne room by getting around an impassable labyrinth by surviving two ancient dragons with casters alone, by making it through endless trials and survived. San, while this was all going on, had to distract the Lich Queen, had to fight her off, had to prevent her advance upon Etherith, giving him time to secure the phylactery and the unrelenting advance of the Githyanki, let alone the Lich Queen herself, who is the iron will of the Githyanki Raiders, was a tough person to hold at bay, but managed to, with the help of the Shisal Kul, Warlord Zetkrir, leaving his hopes and dreams as he was slain by Vlaakith. And Basan nearly slain herself alongside Yulaka and our good friend Saeed. It was a tough battle, an impossible battle, but managed to hold the line, uh, proving herself a worthy arcane, or a worthy knight of the Yankee and a worthy archon of Githzerai. Also aided in not so subtle ways by leader of the Githzerai, who has an equally fucked up name. Well, I can't remember. But Basan knows it.
Minyarog.
Menurag, thank you very much. Menurag most certainly helped out. All the while, Arendelle, a similarly daunting task, had to break through the front line of endless Illithid Nautiloid ships, smash through and into the Shattered Void, survive the impending onslaught of mind flares, confront the Prophet, the arch nemesis of the crew of the Prophet's Demise, defeat him in battle and destroy the Shattered Void, and, presumably make it out alive. Um, all three of you faced impossible odds, but Arendelle did face all of the Mind Flayers, did face the Prophet, did defeat him in single combat, did defeat the Shattered Void, and did escape alive. We'll find out soon. Basan did fight valiantly till the end, until it was impossible to continue fighting. It was Etherith's skillful use of the wish spell that managed to save both their lives in defeating Vlaakith, the Red Dragon allies, destroying the phylactery, and then, just a cherry on top of it all, the struggle of attempting apotheosis. Basan, in the wake of having just gotten her ass a little bit beat, just kind of was like, okay, on to the next impossible task. Contained the entire psionic essence of the will of Vlaakith into two singular points that flowed through and into Etherith, that flowed into his sister, Callistra. all the while, this tether drawing forth the destructive power of the psionic explosion of the Shattered Void, traveling right down to Toonrath and probably blowing a fucking hole, if not destroying the entire palace itself, but flowing specifically into Ethrith, and specifically into Callistra. Arendelle disappears in a blinding light. Basan, you grit your teeth hard. Blood probably travels down your nose as holding this funnel is not as easy as perhaps it may seem. This is a great force of power, a deluge. You are the dam to the unrelenting tide of not even psionic power alone, but just sheer force of angered will as Vlaakith travels in to Ethrith and Callistra, and you hold true. It rattles your very bones, and Ethrith and Callistra, Ethrith, you especially, your experience, it is like nothing you've ever experienced. It is absolutely the end and beginning of mortal pain. It is every nerve on fire. And you most certainly scream. It is every... Your body is dying. Absolutely, your body is dying. It is too much force to expect any mortal to contain. You're absolutely dying and dying with horrific pain. But it is, to your amazement, secondary. As it is not your... As your body dies, all of this power flows through what you would call your soul. You feel the power of the near god Vlaakith smash through it, like you are a tiny little trout, tiny little just a little fishy in a absolute deluged force of river tunneling down, perhaps even a waterfall of force coming down upon all of you. And there is nothing to be done. There is no saving yourself. There is no check to be made. There is no running. There is no going forward. There is simply the tide. There is no escaping it. There's no fighting it. There's no embracing it. It just is. And all of this flows into and around your soul. And your soul soaks it up, willingly or not, like a magnet surrounded by just coins. Massive magnets surrounded by a wealth hoard of coins, which is exactly what it is. The power of Vlaakith is like pure psionic spiritual wealth, and it is flowing in and around you. And you're growing, and you are growing, you are growing as your body dies. You just slip between, easy enough, the planes themselves. You are gone from this destructive place. And in the wake of apotheosis, Basan, the screams and whatnot, time seems to mellow and slow. And that in this space, the planes thin. Not because of you, not because of Vlaakith, but just because of what Etherith and Callistra are becoming. That it is just, as it should not be so easy, it is just the simplest thing. To just slip between worlds. And slip between them they do. And while Etherith, you feel like you could have just slipped between all of the planes, like just like a ball being rolled down the street. And who knows what car you'd bump into, what stone you jump off of, each stone, each obstacle being another plane of existence, until finally you find the Astral Sea and be shunted for 1,000 years into the void, until you could finally muster enough consciousness to be what you are. But you are pulled like a gentle, matronly, motherly hand, just now guiding you, like a child who has only just learned how to walk, who has gone a little ahead of themselves and is stumbling down the path and is threatening to fall over. Just a gentle hand, just sort of at your back, making sure you do not tumble. Find your way to a plane of cloud. A plane of light, a plane of power, as you feel the crackle, synergy energy, the tips of your fingers. And you are there too, Basan. You stand in this place, this only solid place, as you're being held there by the will of another god. You are standing next to Callistra, and you are dead, Ethrith. But you're not dead either. You are beyond mortality. What was mortal, what was flesh, is evaporated. But you are there, and you are beside Callistra, and you stand in this just single rising pedestal amongst clouds that crackle with lightnings and energy, power. You are coming to terms with what you are. You are not a spirit. You're not something so simple. You are unfocused energy that has been just directed so that you can just basically focus and speak, do basic tasks, to be Ethrith once more as you're standing. And Callistra as well. Basan, your consciousness in the moment of all of this has slipped into this place as well. You have held this power all at bay, and it has created these flows of energy of what was the power of Vlaakith and is now bound into something greater, into the spirit of Ethrith bound with the power of Vlaakith, with the sheer energy of the Shattered Void, is all twisted and altered into something else, which is, you think, what Ethrith is becoming. And your own mind easily follows while holding this moment, as time isn't frozen. It's just that you're functioning at a mental cognitive power that is like so fast that it's like time has stopped. Your speed of thought seems to have enhanced with all this power flowing around you. And you stand here as well. Rendil, you probably understand the least of how you got here. And while nobody fucking understands how they got here, really, at the end of the day, you were pulled away by this giant, magnificent bird, and as the Shattered Void exploded, you were emulated in light power, and you felt like you were getting the worst sunburn of your lifetime, and all of that light was a threat until it was not, until it was just cloud, until it settled around you. And you lost track of, at some point your feet touched the ground, at some point the eagle was gone, and now here you stand. 4 of you standing in one corner of this elegant, ancient archways with big gleaming marble pillars. There is a holy flame that sits at the center of this place, and looking into the flames, with great deep consideration in his face, is this mature, elderly man. He's like none you've ever seen. Well, you two know you've seen nothing from the sun. Though he is older, he is the mightiest you have ever seen, the mightiest individual you've ever seen. He has brawn and strength, muscles rippling across him. He is the pinnacle of strength, period. Everything about him. His eyes, the way he carries himself, his posture, his physical strength, everything radiates might, dominance, power. His eyes are electric blue and seem to carry with them the power of just that electricity. His arms are folded as he looks up to the flame, as if he is taking into account things that he has seen. His beard, his hair is white as the clouds, and seem to almost, as they are definitely hair, but almost seem to wisp as if they were just the very tips of them, sort of almost played with your mind's conception of where hair begins and the cloud, the wind, and the heavens begin. And he is the prime. He is the king. And it takes no introduction to know this.
upon seeing or becoming aware of where Miranda is, you will see Zeus and automatically drop to one knee.
Drop to
Lord.
one knee. He does.
We have.
Oh, go ahead. No.
No, Karen. Sorry.
No. You.
My lord. We have vanquished those that we said we will. Thank you for your guidance and your strength. We are here, hopefully to help rebuild what is now a once devastated system. Again, thank you.
When your knee hit the floor, the metal of your shin, the bronze metal, it created its clang. It turned his attention, not some, but his attention turned from his thoughts to you. They were garbage as you spoke. And he will smile. He'll say, "King does not kneel. Put him into it. Come, join me by the fire."
Then I'll stand and walk over.
Says, "This is quite the assembly we've brought before you. And we shall address that soon. But first, recognition of your deeds is known. You led today. Those could not be led. It was not you alone who brought them together. It was you who inspired. It was you who led the charge. And it was you who slew the greatest foes. You have led who many would consider unbeatable. Get Sarai and get Yankee working together. You have led the greatest heroes and leaders in the history of myth. To lead Achilles is to achieve impossibility alone. But that was the simplest of tasks you faced. And so, Arenda, you will be king. There is a place, a system, a great space, another world to be conquered. When we leave here, I bid you, Arenda, go with all the sovereign power and approval of my station. Find a world of great space. Rebuild. Create a new city worthy of not only the system, me, but of you. Guide the refugees of great space to just that, greatness. Be king to them. You will have my blessing. And they will follow you not because of it, because of who you are. And I will help along the way where I can.
I shall take this. I will do as you bid. In your honor and with your faith, I shall rebuild or help rebuild the Pantheon to its once glorious state.
This will be my final command to you. You are to be king. You must bend no knee. And you must hold dominion over all good and weak. Honor me. Show my pantheon its piety. Take wisdom from it. But know that when you leave this mountain, you are sovereign. And bend your knee to none.
I understand, Zeus.
Done
And I'll
very
bow my
well.
head.
Now, let us on to the reason we have all been gathered here today. He will gesture for the other three to approach.
Epilogue will sort of look at Anistra for a second. Moment of truth, sister.
Yeah, moment of truth. And she's kind of taking in everything. And as you, like, visually, for Arendelle, for Basan, it definitely looks like after the closer, just kind of like walk up. After it isn't, as you begin to like move your head and regard Zeus and walk, it isn't, it's just an echo of what you once were. It is a manifestation of who you were. It is comprehension, in essence. What you have put here on this mountaintop is comprehension for your friends and yourself. Because the concept of being all and nothing at once, not nothing, nothing isn't there, but being all at once is a lot. So much like being way too drunk and just focusing on that pen in the corner just to try and get some sense of where you are. It's a little like that, except not as dizzy or uncomfortable. Just it's about literal comprehension, but you almost glide up closer to Zeus. You move your consciousness towards his. You all gather. Today, you have all come to have me dictate if you should all enter the Pantheon. And to begin, I will give all of you great commendation. Achieving apotheosis is something that is not easily achieved, a power that really should only lay within the hands of gods. But the tenacity of mortals is always... It always has its mysteries. And so, the question today is not should Etherith and Callisto be gods, for that is what you are. The question is, will you have domain and support and founding in my pantheon? You are held to a single conscious being today, by my will. And without it, it will surely take centuries to gain enough comprehension to form a single word. And so this is important to all. Sandro, your being here is admittedly unexpected, but your power has grown vastly and quickly. Who could foresee the consequences of such reckless and, well, impressive powers? And so we will have your counsel as well.
Thank you.
I will hear all of your words first, before I would call on those of my family who would speak on your behalf. So I will speak of the voice who has the greatest value on this mountain first. Arendelle, you come here as an advocate for these two would-be gods. What would you say for their claim?
Rendell takes his time and just looks across, firstly at Etherith. Bit of a wry smile. Then at Callistra. These two have been instrumental in what we have achieved. Their powers, their faith, their belief in their gods has helped us to where we are. I know some of Etheris' story, from where he came from, how he was born. His journey has been incredible. To come from such a new being to the potential god that he could be is remarkable and commendable. We may never have seen eye to eye on all points, but he has some good thoughts. He has some bad thoughts, but who doesn't? I believe his contribution to your pantheon would be a breath of fresh air. As for Callistra, she is a goddess in her own right, and deserves nothing less.
Finds. Let it be known that if you two were not born in a mesophone part by a god, we would not be having this conversation. Indeed, as you point out so well, Arendelle, you both have had birth from God, heart, and already understand some vital essence of yourselves, what it means to stand here, the time that you were born. Basana Sandro, you have walked with these two as well, for as long as Arendelle has. I would hear your words as well.
I know both Etherith's mother and his father. I served with his father when Captain Lunarbow, the elder, was slain, and these events were put into motion. Never once did either falter. Their commitment to seeing this through to the end was unwavering, unfaltering. They made the sacrifices that were necessary to do the job that needed to be done. They did it to praise, and they did it to jeers. They did it in failure and in success. They kept their bargains. And if you will it, they bring with them a people who will be looking for gods. Because she whom they worshipped lied, promised them paradise, but stole it from them. Faith is important. You would have builders if you wanted, if you found them worthy.
Well, and so at last, I have come to those who have claimed by their own will this fate. Etherith, son of Hecate. Speak now, and let us hear the full weight of what it is you're doing and what you hope to gain from me?
Everett looks around. In my short mortal life, I often found myself beseeching my mother for guidance. The answers never came easy. Sometimes only fragmented omens, sometimes nothing at all. And it began to dawn on me that if I were to, well, it didn't dawn on me, it was more just a confirmation of the fact that if I was ever to acquire what I wanted in my mortal life, I had to walk the path myself, do everything in my power to achieve what I set out to achieve. But this path that I walked, fighting against illithid prophets and lich queens, I began to notice a pattern that wherever I went, I seemed to bring about the downfall of powers, well, great and small, that I was the ruin of so many. My mother always told me that she could only ever witness the crossroads, see the choices that people make. And then I thought that there I was, at the end of those choices, being the architect or the witness to the fall. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the moment I heard well, even felt the illithid's weapon explode into ethereal energies. I relished the moment I ended Vlaakith with a wish. I want to see it all. I want to bear witness to the downfall of those who deserve it and those who do not, to see the consequences of decisions that end in disaster. And I want to stand side by side with my mother as equals. Two gods. I looked into Rendil and Basan. On these travels, I found myself endlessly frustrated, lamenting the path I was made to walk through prophecy. But at the end of it all, despite my heartlessness at times, these two have supported me. And so no matter what decision you make, mighty Zeus, I would at least like to see them rewarded for their efforts.
Essers, come to this mountain, and what I have learned of you is just that you are power hungry, you are prideful, you are arrogant. You believe yourself of an exceptional power, undefeatable, that you are owed something, and more still presume to tell me how I should give apart my rewards. You will fit in just fine, I think. The other ones. He will look past you to Callistra, and he'll say, and you, favorite daughter of Hecate, I've not known her to produce children. If ever to produce a child, yes, through the most uncanny of ways, such as alighting one of her champions' dead bodies on fire, and throwing a dragon inside of it, and letting something else pop out. But you were born of natural ways. A mystery as Hecate has always been, so I ask you what you are doing here then. She'll kind of sturdy herself. Not sturdy herself, she kind of... this is clearly like, you ready? She says, much like my brother, I saw an opportunity and I took it. There was power to be had. There was chance for something greater. And the mortal world has always been this fleeting, frankly boorish thing that has wandered by. I've seen the paths that they walk, and they're always the same. I know well enough about paths. And it is not for me. I know I was meant for greater. I know that I am capable of greater. And I know that I am meant to walk with Hecate, as much a pain in the ass as she could be, but also to support my brother in his wishes. For he wishes this, so I am him. And I wish for the similar stake in a similar plane, whereas Etherith would wish to watch those who are arrogant enough to try and take power and fail. I would see those who are prideful and capable enough to back up their words with might. To see them on their road down Hecate's way, to see them having been successful. That I might see heroes like Basom and Arendelle at the end of their roads, and see them to have been victorious, and to understand and comprehend what it means to be victorious, to be triumphant. Zeus says, I have known long you too have such arrogance, that you too have such power hungriness, that you two are such, that you two have a will to do more and would not fear to reach. But you, Callistra, you are not here because you have a great will to be a god. You have fallen to a brother like a lost puppy. And for that, I do not know if there is will enough to condone and reward you with such majesty as God to my captain. And she looks a little bit like a deer in headlights. We will see. Now, it is clear to where you two wish to hold domain, so I will ask the god who has paved this path, and the one who you claim to wish to stand next to. Not the shadows do it. And for the first time, for Arendelle the Psalm, You see the threefold goddess, who perhaps has always been lingering in the shadows, watching your paths, but you see Hecate. You see, visually alone, a complicated god. One who is 3 and 1 all the same. As she walks, the marble here, in the glint of the bronze and the gold inlaid into the marble as she walks, those minuscule reflections of her form passing by seem to move of their own will. It seems that her reflection is either not there in time or comes too early. And that as you're drawn to this strange aberration in nature, it is as if the passing, fleeting face sees you as it travels by, that her very will is extracted in all things. As she approaches the fire and the flames sort of create that sort of movement in her body, and the flames flicker across her face, you'll see sort of the maiden, the crone, that in any fleeting moment her form may pass between the three, that she is all in one. She is power, and she is a mystery, and she is all paths roiled in one. Here at the end of your crossroads, she stands. She does not bow. She does speak in quiet words, and she speaks without rush. Always good to see you, Zeus. And Zeus says, you've been very busy, Hecate. You present me two children, who I have no doubt you have nudged them down the path towards all this. One most certainly is worthy. The other just seems to me like a lonely little girl. So please tell me, why are they here? Hecate will say, me and my daughter have not gone alone. We have not been eye to eye, as many children of the Olympians are not. But she knows the path. She understands it more vividly than even her brother. And she is beyond it. She's always, since she's been born, been able to look at one person and know exactly where they may end up, as if she were a prophet herself, as the one she's traveled with. She has protected the vulnerable. She single-handedly made my covenant mighty. She has ensured that those women who would be nothing more than housewives were powerful, who were wives or women, cooked and broke bread in the day, but in the night guided their own fate. And she has seen the truth in all the mysteries life has had to lay at her feet. She follows her brother, yes, but she's king. And I would take responsibility for these two only paths as they come to an end and they ascend to something more. Sooth nods. If you, Hecate, have faith in these two, if you believe them worthy, and they wish to enter into your most mysterious ways, and you will not follow under Olympian domain. And under the powers that I have granted you, they may walk free. So, while I consider this, and consider that you may walk with Hecate, you will walk under her guidance as you always had, as with Strad. You may walk in her peerage, but I bid you walk with her guidance, for she is more ancient and more wise than any. Now, before I allow this, before I make my final decision, I would ask, is there any other who would speak on behalf of these two? Any whose faith they have shown true, and any who would speak on their behest. He looks around at the clouds, expecting someone to come. In a single, familiar, feminine voice, say, I will. Coming up the steps, to your surprise, you are going to see Thalia. And as she ascends the steps, like vestiges unfolding, the red of her hair, her robes, staff, unfurl as the cloud-like illusions as they've always been. And though her face remains always the same, form does grow, change to its true shape as Aphrodite steps forward. Her companion is shown. And Zeus will say, it is unlike for a long time now have we not considered you a war god, Aphrodite. But now to have walked with them, and to have fought with them, we must see something special, so please, tell me. She says, before she regards Zeus, she looks to each of you with this look of like, look of, oops. Almost like apologetically that she had fooled you for so long. But indeed, you look to your surprise, indeed, the face of Thalia and the face of Aphrodite, one and the same. And she will smile, and she does move and behave as Thalia always did, but now there was something more to it. There was a divine weight behind every move, every action. There is a grace, a beauty, a desire. Her form is what it always was, but she is... You comprehend now that she has always been, and she is the soul of beauty, and she comes here with compassion, and she comes here to speak of desire and love. And she says, Great Zeus, my companions are not unworthy to stand beside the Olympians for the words you say, but I would say even more so. You say that Callistra walks with Ethrith like a lost puppy, and that is her reason for ascending, but I would challenge that she has followed her brother in faith, and that she has always longed for something more in life than just being the solitary pinnacle of this cult of Hecate. She has always sought companionship, and she has clung loyally to her brother's side through this whole adventure. And while me and Etherith have not always seen eye to eye, and it has seemed that I have greatly annoyed him, I do see that he has protected his sister, and that his sister loves him greatly, and that she does as well. And could Olympus, the divine realm, stand to have two gods who are loyal to each other so much more? Do you not fear in your own heart, great Zeus, betrayal and ambition? Would it not be wondrous to have two gods that share with each other loyalty and compassion that you admire so much in humanity, that you seek for in your own divine life? I put forth simply that love is not weakness. Compassion is not weakness. That willingness to follow someone you care about through the unknown, which is one of the scariest things in life, is not strength. I would simply put forth Callistra and Ethris care for each other. Their sibling bond makes them all the more worthy, and something that perhaps could teach our own children. Something about unity. Zeus looks at her. There's a tempest below the surface always with Zeus. And as she sort of comes upon these topics of vulnerability, as she sort of pulls upon the strings of vulnerability of what Zeus might feel in his own heart, his own fear of challenge, his own fear of betrayal, his own desire for love, his own desire for loyalty, and she sort of uses those. He looks to you, with Callistra, and he'll say, "Are there final words that would be said before I come to my judgment?"
Ethers remains silent.
Jeez. Arendo will look across the faces in front. The two together make a very strong bond, or have a very strong bond. They will be a great addition and have a balance between the two. They should not be split. They should go as one.
They are two sides of a coin. A coin cannot. How can a coin not have two sides? If it has one, it must have the other. They are two, but they are connected. She has value of her own. And together they are glorious.
But he says, "There must always be three in witchcraft. There must always be balance between light and darkness. I stand at the crossroads. Ethrith will stand at the end of failure, and Callistra will stand at the end of success. And while I am three myself, the road must have three. And while Ethrith may be the dark, Callistra must be the light. This is the balance, the witchcraft of power of the road." Zeus looks around, says, "Would be there such unity in the decisions made on Olympus? Would there be such loyalty? Would there be such common cause? I am moved. I am moved. We've all spoken about it, and will not go without a word. How unique place you find yourself in this pantheon, Ethrith and Callistra. How unique indeed. Ethrith, you would wish to be the god of failure, the god of, what would you call it? Name it for yourself.
Ruin. Then you, Ethrith, shall be the god of the road, of ruin. And you shall be free of Olympian rule, but you shall always walk in Hecate's shadow, as she walks in hers. And to
Callistra. Triumph is the word you used. She said yes. And you shall be the god of the road of triumph. And you shall also walk in the shadow of Hecate, free from Olympia rule. Your place now is in Hades, and you will have her guidance as you grow into your godship, as you grow into what you are, and you shall remain whole now in consciousness and in power. The balance of the cosmos has been set, his domains granted, and all things as they are should be. Welcome. And in a moment, as if his words alone, but being your own divine self, you know that while he's like not going like he's not doing anything, you do know that his will is his power at work. And you do feel the fabric of the cosmos is aligning by his words. And as he has said it, the balance of the cosmos indeed. And you, more than perhaps Arendelle or Bassar could ever comprehend, is as he has granted you these titles, he has not just simply said like any king may just be like, oh yeah, you're my knight now. Great. Title, fuck off. Like, you feel that as he gives you these titles, he has very much changed the very balance of how the cosmos and the multiverse works in a moment. He has created or found the void you wish to fill. He has opened it and inflated it for what it was, and he has placed you within it. And that is where you rest. And now as you are here, you are but a projection of your will, a comprehension of your will. And you have now been set into the very fabric of reality. As you sit alongside Callistra, as you sit behind Hecate, as you sit under Olympus, as you sit adjacent to Hades, you have now been given a place in the cosmos where you fit into now. You are a piece of the cosmic bed. And I will say, what you, Arendelle and Basan experience is nothing more than a simple, within yourselves and all around you, vibration within reality. And then another. It is a stable rearrangement, but it is nonetheless a change in all things. And then it is gone.
Can we respond?
He sort of, there's a gesture of the hands of Zeus almost as if like, this, like, welcome, and it's sort of entered into an informality of the moment.
So Bisan started like openly weeping when Aphrodite walked into the room and kind of lost her shit for a little bit. But as soon as Zeus like basically declared it is done, she got real clear, and she walks right up to Etherith and Callistra and says, "We made a pact. I kept my end of the bargain.
And we intend to follow through on our end.
So then the souls of my people, whatever can be salvaged of what was used, they will go to paradise."
I look to Hecate.
He says, it is now my domain where the soul goes when they die. It is the domain of Hades to judge each soul and make sure it is placed where it should be. She will look to Basan and say, the souls of those spent, the roads they have walked, will determine which paths they follow to the end, to ruin, to triumph.
But they will have an end.
She actually looks to Zeus. Zeus says, "You're referring to the souls consumed by Blacketh."
Is it possible for them? Is there enough left for them to have an ending?
What makes a lich so grotesque is that they consume the soul like a morsel of food. I'm sorry to say, but to sustain her life, they were consumed and destroyed so that she may prolong her life. I'm sure you understand the selfishness and evil of the Lich. But know this, take some comfort in this, son. The great evil of Lakis and her mongering of power, her consumption of the souls of worthy knights. I will make special interest with Hades that there is a particularly horrific place in Tartarus, and that all that she had become through their deaths now rests with Mithras, Callisto, and know that their sacrifices did not in the end go to feed the vanity of Lakith, but go to sustain two gods who might make these cosmos one. I am sorry. Cannot create from nothing.
It is. And she'll actually look at them and say, "Thank you, mighty Zeus."
And he looks at you with, and again, he's that trembling tempest just under the surface always, where even a gentle word seems like it could spill with electricity at any moment. And you gather, like, he isn't like, ooh, that black, it's like nothing like that, but you do see that there is like the severity in his eyes, as you can tell that there is contempt and hatred for Vlakith and all that she represented. She was perversion of his domain, and he carries a wrath for her. That's how strange has been completely enacted in the mortal world. Not only did she die, but her entire legacy has been consumed by Athrith and Callistra, and perhaps her entire kingdom is to be absorbed by you. So in his wrath of her, he has destroyed all that she is through certain agents of his will.
I'm sorry that the lost souls cannot find their way to the afterlife. But for those who still live, as you said before, the Gith have no god now, no divine guidance. But
We
I
will
looked to Zeus then.
build temples.
Zeus.
Thessaly was lost. A great, unconscionable number of lives were lost. Followers. The Gith have lost their god, and we have lost, well, and Olympus has lost followers. Perhaps through this mutual loss, Olympus can shepherd the Gith, set them on a new path.
Thessaly was destroyed. Olympus lost a great deal of followers, and in its way, failed those that they sought to protect, sought us to protect them. They have been avenged, but be sure that Olympus will not turn away mortals who seek piety in us. If it is the will of the leaders of the Gith, to bring them to a pantheon that might match their various values. The warmongering of the Githyanki, the intellectual skill of the Githzerai, the peace, help them find a home, the dominating will. If all of these things are brought to bear, I bid you then, do not bring them one of us. Bring them Olympus, and let them decide which is their favorite.
That is perfection.
Randall will turn to Basson. The new world will always have a place for you. You and your kind.
And you will always have backup.
Hecate will say, if you are to lead them, son, tell them that there will be no small amount of suffering to be had as they may wish in Dessa. There are many dangerous planets, some where the air is toxic and the seas are poisoned, as you've seen, some volcanic in nature. There are many very dangerous planets to try and harness and conquer, but it is the way of the Gith to conquer that dangerous realm and to be stalwart and resilient in the face of a dangerous habitat. I am sure there will be a dangerous world in great space the Gith will relish conquering to make their home.
I think you were right.
Zeus would say, Hecate speaks wisely. If I am to grant any small morsel of wisdom to the Gith's new would-be leader, simply recognize, Bassan, what the Gith have been. A people who seem to have relished struggle. There is power in that. There is strength in that. Do not deprive them of that. Do not deprive them of struggle. Let it grow them into something stronger.
Yes. And we can direct it for something that isn't cannibalizing.
Indeed. Always more preferable. I will simply say that, with a smile, Zeus kind of sort of makes his way to the edge and kind of like has his arms behind his back and is kind of like looking off into the cloudscapes. The lightning sort of crackles, and who knows what the eyes of Zeus see as he looks out. He perhaps sees beyond lightning and cloud and beautiful pillar. He perhaps sees all the weave of the cosmos, and who's to say that he isn't looking and relishing upon a new world to be built, new kingdoms to be formed, but also perhaps looking upon the very balance of the cosmos with his great eyes and ensuring all is as it should be, as he sort of steps to the side in this moment. And I think that's kind of what all the gods will do, and you will recognize that in this moment, Hecate kind of makes her way to the side and sort of smiles at you two, Athrith and Callistra, as if to say, like, when you're ready. Like, just talk about it, there will be time. And Aphrodite will sort of linger in the light as well, and you will all gather that this is the final time to, for Arendelle and, well, for all of you, to speak to these gods outside of Hecate, as Hecate dwells in a very different realm than Aphrodite and Zeus, and they do not always or often make contact. And for Arendelle and Bassan, this perhaps is your last time to see Athrith and see Callistra, and maybe even have private in-person communion with these divines. So, take it away.
I would actually like to speak to three different parties. So probably the first thing that Bisan does is run up to Aphrodite and stop. And I don't. Do I hug? Do I bow? How do I?
She, you run up to her and you kind of stop. You're like, and as you start kind of fumbling over it, she turns and sees you with that sort of like bright look, and she closes the gap and she hugs you, and you have the stun condition for a couple of maybe a minute or two, as she hugs you, and to be hugged by the god of love and desire, compassion, is to be filled with these things. It is to be filled with desire for her, for the world, for life, to be filled with compassion and warmth and happiness, and her very skin seems to tingle your body, and it's just, you are filled with her very domain as she embraces you in its most intense ways, and indeed perhaps brings you to an additional set of tears until she finally maybe has mercy on you and mercy and cruelty upon you, as is the way of love. As love comes and love goes, there's a mercy and there's a pain to it. And she retracts that you might be released from that stun.
If I have a single prayer, it's that I never disappoint you again.
She'll kind of cup your cheeks and kind of wipe with her thumb away the tears. She says, "No, no, 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 son. You have never disappointed me. The only disappointment about love, about desire, the only disappointment to me is someone who doesn't let it in. You never disappointed me. And you have taken what I've had to give, and you have transformed it to something new and beautiful. And isn't that the whole point of love?"
Give people no war. We've known war. It's all we've known. And they are going to continue to do war, but they should know you.
Isn't that just the great failing of Lakith in her way? War and love, two sides of the same coin. Just as love is beautiful, so is war. And I think her people have always had desire and have always had love. Whether that is a love of war, or a love of themselves, or a love of the man who stands beside them and holds the sword. It's impossible to be without love. Though Vlakith, I should have been different. I know you will make it different. You have never disappointed me, Lucy. Never in all your life. You just needed a little nudge, and she winks.
I look forward to having your temple built.
Me too. Make sure there's lots of flowers.
I have drawings.
And she just kind of keeps wiping the tears away with her thumbs as they roll. And she just like looks at you with the admiration of someone who cares about you. Um,
So yeah, she'll take a bow and uh she'll go off to talk to Etheris and Callistra next, and make a note that she's going to get a holy symbol very,
all
very
right,
soon.
excellent. Well, before that,
Yeah.
we'll always swing over to Ethereth, as that is where it was directed anyway. So, Ethereth, you've attained successful apotheosis, and dominion amongst the Olympian pantheon, alongside your sister Callistra, as you had intended. What's going on?
I'll look to Callistra. Like,
That's a close one.
it would appear your domain won the day.
I suppose it did, didn't it? Oh, what a pitiful start for you. I mean, and she kind of bumps her shoulder. She goes, "You, the god of the road of the ruin, is starting it all off with triumph. How sad."
Have to start somewhere.
Gotta start somewhere. So don't worry.
And
We won't tell anybody.
as much as I am eager to get started, I kind of like cast a glance to Rendell and Basan. It would hurt my pride a little bit if I reunited with these two anytime soon.
Well,
I
it's
imagine
really
you'll
their choice which way they end up.
indeed, but I imagine you'll be seeing them very often.
Something tells me.
I do look to Rendell then like, be warned. I'll be waiting when you screw up. There to point and laugh.
She says, and if you succeed, I mean, what more could one ask for at the end of the road than me?
Well, I think there is only going to be one outcome for me, and it is not with you, Ether.
Oh, what a pity.
She will. Callisto will kind of like touch her face a little, and like the finger under the chin, Arendelle very flirtatiously, and she says, "I expect to see you often, Arendelle. I hope you won't leave me waiting. Take too much."
Well, wherever I decide to settle and rule, there will be a seat waiting for you.
Oh, there'll be something. Sounds like and we can say like, I mean, we're fast tracking this slightly, but who gives a shit? We'll say at this point, Son, yeah, you can join this conversation if you wish. She says,
She'll look at Ephtherith and say, "We're going to send you a lot of business. You might not see us as often, maybe through the door. But even today, your apotheosis was in some ways sustained by the ruin of the last Flacketh and the prophet. It's not
she
a bad
goes,
way
"Ooh,
to
that's
start the
good.
day."
That's really good." And that's a very good point. You two are going to be having to make our myth for us. Make sure it is wonderful and ends in tragedy for someone.
There's the warlord. Will bury him with honors to triumph.
Well, I'll tell you what.
But we do
You
have
can
a
make
pact.
this.
Oh, sorry.
No, carry on.
And in an abundance of caution, I would like a dragon worthy of the legend of Flacketh, and one that does not answer to Tiamat. Because I have to go collect her sword and collect the Gith people and convince them that they need that I can deliver them to paradise, that I can deliver them the things that they were promised and did not get. A dragon would help to seal the deal. Words are hard. You know this. She smiles.
Maybe a religion check.
This is not a skill she's good at.
That's okay.
Can I make the same check? Because I mean, she's asking me.
Well, you're God.
Yeah.
So
19. 19.
It's all good. She'll get it. I gotta treat things a little funkily for you now, Athrith. So basically, going forward, Athrith, any skill check I'll ever ask, if it has to do with like ruin or downfall, it's just success. You'll just have, you know, and I guess in a way this is. You'll understand what I mean. So, Basan, you're speaking of dragons. Now, and this was part of the basis of Blacket's rule, is that when the Gith people escaped the Mind Flayers, they were led by Gith, Mother Gith. She was the great leader of the Thrall Rebellion that toppled the Illithid Empire. She is the reason why Mind Flayers haven't dominated the multiverse. She is, in every essence, probably the greatest hero of the astral sea of wild space. She's like, and she's worthy of all the honors the Gith people give. She's their unifying factor. The Githzerai love her. Yankee love her. Anyone who loves freedom should love her. Her and Vlaakith were seeking her and Gith were seeking power to support this rebellion and went into hell to speak with Tiamat, and she never returned. Gith never returned, but Vlaakith did, and told them that she fell. But in her failing, she named Vlaakith her successor, and came with a pact for dragons with Tiamat, which was a pretty solid, fair enough. I mean, that's hard to say no to. Which is what made the division, because that's exactly what happened. It's just that some said, yeah, we don't believe that shit. And the Githzerai came about. So, you're speaking of dragons. The pact with the dragons is with Vlaakith. You, Basan, being the great person that you are, probably are not going to be able to maintain this pact with Tiamat, because Tiamat is a tyrannical, evil god. And the requirements of Vlaakith are probably pretty fucking evil. Now, I asked to roll the religion check for this reason. If you could find out what indeed happened to Gith. Tiamat, no. If somehow you can make some patterns, right? If you could find out what happened to Gith, that would be a magnificent piece of unification between the Githzerai and the Githyanki. That would change it from a momentary we fucking hate each other, we're probably going to try and kill each other once this battle is done, to, unity. Gith would unify them, most certainly. Whatever your plans may be, it would be the masterstroke of unification. So that's worth putting out there. The pact for dragons was made with Tiamat. It's just off the dome, whatever Tiamat wants. I'm not she's a god. I'm probably not going to be able to make it happen because it's not what you want for the Githyanki people. But I mean, if you can learn where Gith came from, I'm sure other pacts can be made, so on and so forth. And that could be a very unifying piece of the puzzle. And indeed, Arendelle, you are technically aligned with other divine being. No, anyway, have fun with that. Just a direction I'd point you.
Alrighty then. Bisan will convey all that and say, I'm going to go rally my people. I don't know. Bless me, give me luck. I don't. I think our relationship is different. I'll see you more often.
Well,
Randall will turn to Bison and just say, your home is my home.
Oh, we're not
You
done.
are always welcome.
Oh, we're not done.
I know.
The myths of my people are that before the Illithid, we were elves.
I can see that.
There are many ways that we can unify and move forward. I want to explore them all. So,
Well,
metallic
until
dragons.
you find a
yes.
home of yourself, until you find a home for yourselves, you may treat mine as yours. You are most welcome. Plus, I'm sure that even though we've defeated the prophet, there is still many Illithid hanging around, and
There are still Illithid. There are also Skro. If I need to point people, individuals who need to work their muscles, I'm sure I can find a way to adequately address their violent tendencies. I feel like that sort of thing can be directed. There are many gods.
definitely. Sorry, Etherith, I didn't mean to cut you off.
it's okay.
We can't continue to live on the back of a dead god also. That's creepy in a weird sort of way. I think we need someplace new.
I would still like to grant a reward if I can. I don't know if I am quite seasoned enough in my godhood to provide something quite as grand as what Tiamat gave to Blackith, but I kind of glance towards where Hecate's standing. My mother gave my father my egg long ago.
I remember. I remember you as an egg.
It may just be within my power to grant you the same boon. An egg to raise. It'll take time, but you would have a dragon eventually. There's a caveat, of course. I'm the god of the road to ruin. My boons, well, my blessings only go to those who are seeking the downfall of another. If you intend to go after the Illithid and the Skro, your prayers to me will get it through.
I do.
Then I look forward to seeing them fall. I don't know, can I just give her a dragon egg?
We will say you can like maybe like in the epilogue, like
Yeah.
you gotta
Yeah.
go out, you gotta go out and get one.
No.
Because
Yeah, I
like
gotta go get one.
you know the myths of the god, it's like, oh, and
Yeah,
like even Zeus is like, oh, he took a
yeah.
fucking urn and breathed
You
it
mean he
in.
can't lay one?
Yeah. And then Swanson just goes,
Unfortunately, no. No, no.
no, that's
I will
terrible.
say that Etherith will like try to sort of experiment with their form, but like, I'm a god now. Why do I have to look like this? I'm better than this now. Etherith will try to like take the form of an actual dragon.
I just want to give you guys your stuff, just because it's fun. Um, I mean, sure, like you're a
I'm a
god.
god
You're a
now.
fucking god.
I'm not even technically here. It's just a manifestation of my form.
Yeah, you sure, yeah, you make yourself like appear to be indeed draconic in nature. However that might look.
That's going to be so dope when they go down the road of ruin
Yeah.
and all they see is a dragon just standing there. Like, yeah, come on.
Well, I mean,
Nope.
I'm kind of in the
what
idea of like
a
this.
horde!
I'm kind of into the idea of this like I mean like so you're still like Olympian looking, so you're still
Yeah.
dragonborn, but this like menacing like scaled fucking draconic like monster at the end of the road. I kind of like that. It's tight. Hey,
I do like,
but you're a god, man. It's your flavor.
yeah, I just like the idea of like when someone makes the wrong decision from now on, it's like they may get a premonition of just a lunar dragon lurking in the shadows, waiting for their inevitable failure,
That's
knowing that they're
true.
coming.
I mean, because like you two are both connected to the moon, so
Yeah.
sort of like in the shadow of the moon, there's this like lurking lunar dragon waiting to consume. It's cool.
There's a dragon waiting at the end of the road to ruin.
Yeah.
And he's really looking forward to meeting it.
There's a hot witch at the end of the road. There's a hot goth mommy at the end of the road. um,
Like, it's actually a pretty good deal for Olympus.
yeah, I know. I was looking at it. I'm like, I mean, we got
Not
a
for Olympus, but the
spooky
Chthonic.
dragon witch, and then we got a spooky hot witch. I mean, those are too cool. Sweet. So, we do have. I do want to get to like Rendell and Basan's epilogue as we've definitely hit out Beretha. Efforts. So, is there any last conversations, divine communions? Is there anything else you guys would like to share before your party says farewell and depart from one another?
No.
That's little to say. The journey's finally over, and my part in the story is at a close. But for the two of you, life goes on. Tread carefully. I would hate to see you both again under less auspicious circumstances. It may delight in the downfall of others, but for you two, it would pain me to see the downfall of friends.
Well, as I've said, we may never have seen truly eye to eye. So I've enjoyed your company. And yes, I do not wish to see your face again.
Whatever disagreements we had in the past, all is forgiven. The two of you have given me and my sister the greatest gift of all.
I need to. We'll talk about our pact. And she's going to like very quickly relay everything about Mother Gith. We can talk about that later.
Ethrith, I will say, it has been a pleasure. And as I've said to Bason, Count Lestra, my home is your home and you are welcome any time. This doesn't have to be the end. I mean, you're a god. You can go wherever you like.
I think it would be fair to say that Ether kind of instinctively knows that that's not technically the case. Like there are restrictions on like what gods can and can't do.
You're
say.
like when you leave here, you're about to get a crash course in that. Like, especially in the Olympian domain. Like, if you want to send dreams to Arendelle and Basan, you have to go speak to the Oniri, who are the god of dreams. If you want to, produce an egg for say, you'll probably have to go speak to Hera, who is the goddess of like childbirth. And an egg is a form of childbirth, and so domains overlap pretty intensely here and there. So you're about to go get like a 101, and chances are
the relationship between a warlock and its patron and a god is very, very different, correct?
Oh, tremendously different.
Oh, cool,
tremendous.
because Bisan's going for the warlock vibe.
Got it. Yeah,
Ah,
yeah. Uh yeah, you're kind of you're starting out,
yeah.
Breath. You're kind of starting out. You got to go. You're literally this is your first day on this. Like as stupid as it
First day
sounds,
on
this
the
is your
job.
first day on the job,
Yeah.
and you're about to get the like. Okay, do you want to send a dream? You got to talk to this guy, like the moon. You got to come talk to me to Hecate or like Artemis, maybe. Like, so you're about to go get the fucking rundown of how it works being a god. As there are, making friends amongst the gods is how you get a lot of stuff done as a god. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, So Hecate will look to you, Callistra, and will extend a hand. She'll say, "One last road to walk down, my children. One last threshold to cross. No turning back now."
Flex my wings.
And you guys make your way over.
Until we meet again. Best of luck to you both.
Hecate will say, "Remember, you will find me, Ethrith, Callistra. You will find us three, down every road, which will hear us with the secrets of magic. Know within those dark and light powers, we remain most. Behind you will hear Aphrodite say, "If you are to bind the Gith people, use the most powerful tool of binding of all. Bind them in love. Forge love between Gith Sarai and Gith Yankee, one at a time. There is no more powerful way to make an empire than to bind them in love." And Zeus will say, "And Arendil, no more kneeling. You are a king. Be worthy of it, as you already have been." And with that, this entire scene, the ticking moments for you, Basan, begin to speed up again. And for you, Arendil, the light begins to grow blinding again. And for you, Ethrith, well, I'm sure we mere mortals on this call cannot comprehend what happens next. As we come back, Arendil, you will see as you're kind of just floating, frankly. Kind of come to consciousness, kind of like Superman in the water and Man of Steel. As you kind of like come to consciousness, you're just kind of floating, in wild space, sort of looking off at the battle scene from the distance. Tunarath. It definitely looks like someone took a giant like Death Star laser and fired it through the palace of Vlaakith. That sort of floating moat looks like it has like you can see the earth spill gravityless out either side, like someone just shot a bullet through the head of something, and it is the palace is in ruin, and you just kind of float. You're gonna see off in the distance the mind flare ships disappearing, what it remains of them, into their astral plane portals, retreating from the battle. You see the shattered void. Looks like an exploded moon. There is tendrils that sort of float through the sky, but it is in maybe 5 large crushed fragments of what it once was, and many, many, many more pieces of debris that have scattered stardust. You see that the city of Tunarath looks like it's been hit by a massive meteor swarm from the fallout of the destruction of the Shattered Void. So Tunarath, like, it could rebuild, but it definitely looks like it's been hit pretty hard by the destruction of the Shattered Void's debris. and you are going to see the Githyanki and Githzerai ships, and just off in this faraway distance, as you've got this wide shot of the whole battle screen, you do hear, even at this distance, the war cries of the Gith people. You also see the flickering light as they have come for victory, so they leave back for paradise, as your army of Elysian spirits flit back out to the plane they belong to Elysium. And your army retracts back to paradise. And as you're floating there, you're going to see coming at you, just sort of flying at you, is this elven star moth ship. And as it kind of comes up to you, the door will open, and you'll see your former first mate stick her head out, say, "Need a ride?"
That would be most helpful. Thank you.
And they lend you a line, come within, and though you do not know these soldiers, they certainly know you. And the inside of the ship is a celebration, a warrior celebration of a victory. They celebrate, and it is not often. The elven people are a being of hundreds of years of life, and they are beyond the thrill of youth. They are beyond tears, and they are beyond laughter. But nonetheless, they celebrate as serene as they are. There are hands shaken, there are hugs held, there is kindness shared, there is victory shared amongst them. Though perhaps a little bit more even than the Gith people may. And you are brought in, and you are honored for the war hero that you are, for the king that you are, by the elven people around you. And they will harbor you back to the main fleet. As you are brought back, I want to get this girl's name, which I don't have on hand. But while I'm looking, Tristis, that's right. Thank you very much. Tristis looks and says, "Well, we did it. We did it, Orenda. Incredible. This will be a historical moment. I'd be excited to bring this back to the Armada. What are you going to do now? Will you come with us?"
No. I am destined to go and forge my own path. To find my new world and rule as king. But I will say, Tristis, I will need some people to help with that.
I
You
will.
are most welcome.
She looks at it, she says, "Well, I've fought with the Elven Armada for quite a long time. Maybe it would be nice. I will report back all that has happened here to the Armada. Where can I find you after? For this place that you want to rebuild?"
That is a good question. I need to go and find this place first. But we have stones. We shall keep in contact.
Very well. I will bring the Armada back to realm space, report the victory that was had here today, and then I will find you.
Let everybody know on your way.
I will.
Anybody looking for refuge, they may follow you and come with me.
The name of Lunarbow carries a great deal of weight in the Armada. I will spread the word that, like your brother gave a refuge for the veterans of the war who were displaced, that you will give a refuge to those displaced by, I guess, this war. It is perhaps not my place to say, and I did not know him so well, but I knew him by reputation. I'm sure he would be proud.
I think he would be. Thank you.
She nods. Icarus will come forth, General Icarus, who is leading this fleet. As he may be overheard from the side, he comes forward and treats you to a welcoming and an honor of your victory. He says, "The settlement of your own. I say this not to dishonor his memory, for it is impossible. But I know you have lived in your brother's shadow for most of your life. I would say in the annals of history you'd stand as his equal, for what you have done, for who you've brought together. I must stay with the Armada, but I will be sure word spreads far through our ranks of what you are achieving."
Thank you, General.
Perhaps.
Although I fear that I would never have been in this position had it not been for my brother. Had I not strived to be, or to come out of his shadow in some way.
I suspect we would still be at war if nothing. With the Scrow. While it seems like perhaps we might lose some of our ranks to your new settlement, Vandil, might I quickly inquire off the fronts? The Elven Armada might have a place to make an outpost there, make a base there, continue to try and re-expand our reach. It is the desire of all in the Armada, I think, to one day patrol the Astral Sea and wild spaces it once did to make it a safer place. Can I bring this back to my superiors? We might have an ally in whatever settlement it is they mean to grow.
You will always have an ally with me. As long as you can play nice with a Gith, in whatever form they turn into, as they will be here as well.
That will depend, of course, in the manner in which they transform into. We have never had qualms with Githzerai. Well, I cannot say that to be sure, but you understand.
I
So
do.
long as they align with the good of all, the Armada will have no issue with them.
From what I know, their path will now be slightly different and steered towards those that, well, to those that you will also be attempting to take down and protect people from.
I look forward to seeing what it is you're growing. I never took you for a dreamer. But it suits you.
Well, do not be a stranger.
Our paths will cross again. Be sure of this. He will clasp your arm,
Mhm.
and he will ferry you indeed back to wherever you wish to go. And he's like, "Okay, we'll leave it to Tunareth. Hope you see you alive one day." In the meantime, Basan, you, not unlike, I hate to use so many references from media, but not unlike the very beginning of Arcane Season 2, you kind of awaken in rubble and fire and a space that is completely unrecognizable. You might still be in the throne room, you might not, but it is the destruction that has been brought to this place has made it unrecognizable. You are on some moat of destructive debris, and you are alone. What do you do?
Could you please turn the background music down? Oh, thank you. All right. I am going to reach and see if I got Blacketh's sword before I fucked off into the sky.
You look around. The first thing you seek is the sword of Blacketh. Make me a perception or investigation check. Hey, if you're gonna make some new kingdom or city, you're gonna need some loot to do it with. That's for sure.
It's not all right. So what was it? You said perception?
Perception or investigation?
Investigation. All right. I would like to do perception, and that is a 14 plus 8, so 22.
22. You start to scavenge, your first priority being the symbol of Blacketh's rulership and her might, which to some might seem sort of callous towards your allies, but perhaps is also the sign of a good leader, someone who prioritizes their rule, their conquest, their next steps for their people over anything else. And so you do look and see top of a revel, driven into the debris, sort of hanging sideways, is a magnificent silver greatsword, a Vorpal one that is as deadly and lethal as ever a Yankees wielded.
Well, she's got a sunblade on each hip. And she's gonna sheath that over her back.
Amazing.
And now I'm gonna go look for Arundel, Saeed, people who are hopefully still alive.
You're looking. Vivara, always having premonition of what is to come next, isn't fully unburied, didn't fully get out of the way, but you do see she seems to have herself rightly positioned between a rock that has like shattered her leg, but next to her, narrowly avoided, is a very large piece of what was once the ceiling. And by some miracle or foresight, you can probably guess which, she picked the latter of the two options. Or excuse me, the former of the two options. And you are able to get her free, though she's not walking on that leg anytime soon, but doesn't look displeased. She says, she looks at you with the look of somebody who has seen too many roads, and with a sort of divine ecstasy in her eye and maybe mingled with the adrenaline and pain, says, "They did it. I saw it. They did it, didn't they?"
We did it. They did it.
And a tear streaks down her cheek. And she begins to pray. Nethrith, you're like, ooh, ooh, what's that? Your first prayer. As you keep going, Basan, you will find... I got a question. Do you have any healing abilities, Basan, whatsoever? It's a good and bad thing, for drama's sake. You are looking around, and you do find underneath a very large... Well, you're looking around, and you do find this hand kind of doing like one of these from underneath a great deal of debris. You make your way over to find your Laka just like chest, arm pinned The only thing you can see is his left arm kind of reach out from under some debris, and you can kind of just get a rock out of the way to like find his face where like blood is just down his mouth, and he kind of looks up at you and goes, "Well, this is a bit of a pickle." That splatters way too much blood across himself. A good way to die, I'd say. He sees the sword. I see you found the sword. What are you going to do with it?
Unite our people. Build a new home.
Wouldn't you just be giving an old man's peace at the end, would you?
There will be paradise for you.
I don't care about me. You mean it? I'm going to unite them.
Yeah.
Spitters some blood and more. Good. Then I can go in peace. Son, you are what's left of Chisel. Give the old man his final peace in knowing that you will achieve the dream of the Chisel. And he gives you the torch. For the Chisel has no more leaders, has no more mentors, there's no one else who knows the path like you. You are its final hope. You are its final dream of unity, made manifest. The warlord Zachariah gave himself to a life of evil to cover his tracks that he might do some good to lead the Chisel towards this. And Naraka guided you as best he could, gave his life to do similarly, impart this final truth to you. You are the accumulation of their hopes and dreams. Oh no.
I'm gonna try to make notes of where people's bodies are so that they can be put to rest ceremonially. And I'm going to go try to find Saeed.
Around, hoping that he has not fallen. As I will just say, I am just rolling random dice for who's making it out of this. You make your way around and you find Saeed amongst the rubble, not buried, but amongst some pretty heavy rubble. He does look not sitting in laying quite in the right way. His eyes are closed. Make a medicine check.
$21.
21. He's alive. He has some broken ribs. Something clearly like hit his ribs, and as you find out is when you poke it, his eyes shoot open, and any debris that's still on top of him, I'm gonna say you press through it because you're anarch, but just a blast of telekinesis, just and he like a wild fucking rabid animal who doesn't even feel the pain of his ribs. You poke him in the ribs, and you're like, oh, that's broken, and that wakes him up because it hurts like a motherfucker. He like reaches for his blade and just like waking up as someone who doesn't know where they are. Probably, I think as adventurers, you're used to like waking up from unconscious and going right into battle. So you don't wake up peacefully anymore. Neither does he. So he suddenly shoots up to his feet, and it's just like throwing things away from him telekinetically. Just and comes to settle. He looks around. He goes, "Ow! He kind of keels over, the adrenaline busting through him. And he goes, "What happened? Did we? Is it? Are the
It worked. Tunerak's destroyed. But we lived. We've got a shot at uniting our people. We'll have to find another world. We're going to have to tell another story. The contract for the dragons is with Vlaakith. I can keep that going for a little while, but at some point we're going to get told. So
kind of looks around and goes,
we have gods and we have paradise. Those who died for our cause today will have everything Vlaakith promised, though no thanks to her.
You're right. You're the dreamer. You're the one with the blade. You're the thinker. I just know how to fight. He just gestures to the blade as if you had asked. You keep it. He'll use some telekinetic power to draw his own sword from the rebel and just kind of almost prop himself on it as his ribs are fucked. And I don't know if anyone's had broken ribs before. That is not easy to walk on. As I cannot follow Vlaakith anymore. She is dust and good fucking riddance. So I will follow you. And that will be my life.
Oh my. She kisses him.
And he kisses you, not dispassionately. And it tastes of, it's got that irony bloody taste, and it's uncomfortable as you start to realize, oh, I've broken a toe here and maybe a rib there and a whatever there, and
Oh,
he's
she's
he
barely
certainly
holding
has.
on.
Yeah, and
She's
she. Yeah. Oh, and I've got that open blade wound across my back, and I got fucking like throat grabbed, and so. But through all the pain and whatnot, the blessing of desire and the warmth of love spreads through you. And though he is not a man of words, he's a very physical, very very warrior, very whatever individual. And as you have taken to the path of Aphrodite, and he has certainly taken the path of Ares, he speaks to you through his kiss, his devotion, and his passion for you. He says, just one thing. Make me your more lord.
Yeah.
Great.
Of course.
Awesome. And he'll kiss you again. And we will meander a little forward through the moment as the two of you find your way up the rubble. Navara sort of limping haggardly. Yep. Limping along with you guys with her busted up leg. You and there's dead dragons out here. All of them dead. A couple were ripped apart by the ancient dragon. The ancient dragon was whittled down by many more of Vlaakith, and the one that Saeed rode and the one that you rode were either killed or succumbed to their wounds, or the rebel that fell from the sky. There's maybe 5 or 6 dead dragons out here. And it doesn't look bad as you step forward through the destroyed obsidian gate. And behind you are the piles of dead dragons. And you bear the sword of Lakith. Saeed says, I hope you've got something really fucking good planned for this one. And you see ships of Githyanki and Githzerai sort of coming down to see if Lakith survived, to see if you survived, to see who survived. Many sort of crowded aboard there, the open walkways. You'll see Arendil and some of the Elven Armada standing aboard a ship nearby as well. Maybe a little bit off to the side, maybe a little behind the gathering masses of Gith, Zerai and Yankee alike, come to see what has transpired here in the Palace of Tunarath. Depending on your words, Basan, depending on what happens next, this is the speech, this is the words, this is the moment that will see to it that you see Ethrith or Callistra. Will the Gith find ruin and infighting, or will they triumph in unity? It depends on this next moment, as you provide it. What do you say? What do you do to the gathered Gith legions?
Millennia ago, we were taken from our ancestral homes and forced into slavery. And over time, we became what we are. And when our chains were broken, we divided. And for millennia, we have lived, divided, and we have put each other on the same level as our enslavers, and that has weakened us. We were always one people. The Githyanki devoted their lives to the glory of Vlakith, with the understanding that their devotion would lead them to paradise. The foe we faced was an unholy eldritch horror, an abomination to man and to God, above and below. And to keep her oath, to send you to paradise. She sent herself out and through, and she ascended into something different. The gods of ruin and triumph. The true gods of the Gith people. The choice to choose which gods we serve. And the guarantee of paradise. And she'll pull out her sword, the sword of Vlakith, and say, by this sword, We will build our cities. We will vanquish our enemies. And we will go to God with the glory of Gith. And then she will put take her sword and put it in the ground and.
All right.
Make a performance check or
A
something.
persuasion or performance check.
Not her favorite skills.
Yep.
But I do have a heroic inspiration.
Good. Very good.
Okay. You two have been acting well, so let's do this one first. Okay, so that was actually a 19.
Hey, there we go.
They're going to be the same, so it's a natural 19 for 21 total.
21 total. Your words ring out, and they see the sword. It is a silent tale that Blackith is done, is defeated. And you also spoke of Paradise Lost through Blackith. You stand beside a Githyanki knight who has gained some reputation around here a little bit, who stands firm and beside your words, a witness and testimony to all you have said, that it is truth. The Githyanki real, that the knight's great reward was false. The rest of the Gith real, that mighty Vlacus is slain. But all of that rage and all that anger and all that temperament that may have come about is tempered by Gith. Bring forth the word Gith, for it is the word that unites your entire race by very decree that they are Gith. The Gith Sarai are clearly seen with the Githyanki. You talk about unifying under Gith, and that is all the Gith Sarai have wanted, to follow the way of Gith. And have not believed the betrayal of Blackith, so they are certainly the easiest to convince. Blackith is gone, follow Gith. And it rings true, and most intensely through the Gith Sarai ranks. They're not a war cry people, so it is subtle. But you know your people well enough to know that your words are true and good. Githyanki are shocked. But they do hear your words. And they do not rage upon it. Do not rage upon it. And they seem set. And there's expectation. And there's a waiting. And Saeed will painfully take out his sword. He will right himself, and through what you imagine is his intense pain, walks soldierly forward despite his broken ribs. And he'll raise his blade. And he will say, and he'll raise his blade, and he'll point to you as such. He will say, Blackith! And there is a large cacophony at the sound of unsheathing blades as you hear, Blacketh! Blacketh! I think, Arendelle, you would alone notice that there are some Githyanki astral skiffs that do turn to like, fuck this, and they do turn and they do leave. Some of them are like, fuck that, as it is clearly a diversion from the Githyanki way. But it is a trace amount, and to be expected. But Vlaakith has been named anew. You did, perhaps to Vlaakith's failing in her own, as Menurag maybe intended, you did fly into battle at her side upon her warship. There is position in that. There is something to be said in that to the masses. And you now bear her blade. Some who are deeply loyal do not, but those who are stricken at the loss of paradise stay, especially those who are promised one anew, a solution. And all who are promised Gith scream out your new name. For you are Basan in this moment no longer, except perhaps to your friends, and to your private moments. You are Vlaakith. That is your name. Queen Vlaakith of the Gith people. We are going to fast forward, montage, if you will, a little bit, as plans are made. As promised, the Elven Armada flies away. They begin to start a long voyage back to realm space to share what has happened here, and to share the news of where you are going. And so I ask Basan, as Tunarath has been destroyed, it sounds like, Vlaakith, as it sounds like you have no interest in re-inhabiting this place, this manifestation of Vlaakith's reign. And it sounds like perhaps you will not be taking them into limbo, as they do not require such extreme defenses against an oppositional military force. Where are the Gith going under the leadership of Vlaakith, and where, Arendelle, do you go to find refugees to build them? What is the plan? Where is the Epilogue taking us?
Well, Bisan is going to look at Vivara and say, all right, priestess, where are we going?
She will think. She'll say,
You know you're staying with me, right? She smiled.
And she will, teetering on her staff, do her best to bow, say, I'll be honored to be oracle to you. As your priest, if I am to be, it sounds the Olympians are your way. Great Space has prayed to them the most of all. And I foresee perhaps prosperity there for the Gith. But this is my feeling as a holy person. You are Vlaakith. It is for you to decide.
We will need some time to tend our wounded, the ones who are sharper in mind, to catalog our assets. Then we can start sending patrols into Great Space to find a home for us that suits the Gith and pleases Olympus.
Very well. Said says, I will organize then. Scouts, travel on, report back with what worlds might be well for us. I should ask, what of Tiamat? What of the dragons?
I am Blacketh. In theory, we still have dragons, but many were dead. I am looking to make a new accord. That will take time. We may be without dragons for a bit, but the Githzerai can make ships.
Bara will say, I have foreseen you standing in a wasteland, one of flame and war, one where bones litter the ground, and at the mouth of a great cave that bears the skull of many dragons. Perhaps it is the path of Blacketh to meet with her old patron. Side looks to her and back to you and says, if you would will it, Blacketh, I will guide our people there and meet you on the other side. I will say, it is a power that many Githyanki and Githzerai have, and one that I am certainly going to give to you now. In all of your psionic power, you have gained the psionic ability to plane shift, which is what many knights, many archons, many have, so you too as well. Fuck yeah. It's self-only, but yeah. If that is your will, Basan, you may go stand before Tiamat. I mean, Blacketh. It's going to take some getting used to. Cool. Then we will say, if it is your will, Said sends forth scouts ahead of time. The Gith people load upon their many ships and will begin to move towards Great Space, and you will vanish. And we will come back to you. But Rendell, what's going on?
First things first. The Prophet's demise. Do I see that about?
In Blacketh's great, has much to do. You are finding yourself, you're figure yourself out. You do see they barely functioning, but still afloat. Prophet's demise. Limp through the space above and come to find you. Tidewalker, Captain Tidewalker, sticks her head out. She goes, that was intense!
Yes, very. I'm glad to see that you are all safe and well. Now that everything is done and you are captain of this mighty fine crew and fine vessel, there will be several people not returning.
Who did we lose?
We haven't lost anybody. More people now have a greater purpose. Ethrith and Kalnester are now deities in their own ways.
Whoa.
Bason, she is about to do something nobody has done in millennia and unite the Gith.
Yeah, I heard the speech. Holy shit.
I have my own path.
Well,
I'm going to find a planet and let those that have been displaced need refuge from everything come and live on my planet. But I first need to find that planet. And I would be grateful of your help.
I would be. Um, I. She looks around the ship. She goes, well, you are most welcome on our ship. Consider us your charter. And, I mean, we'll stick by you as we always have. We lost people, but not as many as we could have. We lost Spice Hand and 3 of the crew to the Illithid, but everybody else is okay. Thalia disappeared somewhere and everything. But everybody else is okay.
That is good to know. And it is a sad day for those that we have lost. And we shall commemorate them on our travels.
Well, up aboard. Where would you like to go?
At this point, being that the Pantheon is of great space, is there so I'm just looking at the planets that we've got in great space. Is there one that isn't really, say, not inhabited, but that would make sense? Because I'm not really sure, to be honest, with the planets that are within great space.
I know, they're pretty intense. So you will get there before the Gith do. You'll probably get there around the same time as the scouts do. So you'll kind of get first pick. So your choices, yeah, you've got this uninhabited extreme heat world of Carrington. You have Skora, which is this stormy, poisonous planet. You have this planet of let's see here. Let's see.
So there's Long Pure.
There is this like earthquake volcanic world, which is also probably pretty hot. So I would say the world that looks you do fly onto Lagor's world, the 4th planet in orbit. Well, the 3rd down. And it has a couple of cultures already involved. There's already a couple of settlements there. On the entire planet, there's maybe 50 cities, which isn't a lot for an entire planet. And they are human cultures specifically. There's also some small gnomish halfling communities and a shit ton of refugees from Thessalis and from faraway worlds who are living in squalor, who are displaced, and these different cultures and communities are overwhelmed. And as you're flying down there and scouting it out, you are going to find this. You're going to find this section of land. It is large. And it is this big coastal area. It is a magnificent amount of water. It has a humongous sea right in the dead center of it. And it sort of horseshoes around, land-wise. It has a long strip of an island at the base. It has many islands and mountains, and nobody lives there. And it's pristine and untapped because it's a little harsher. There's a lot of hills, a lot of mountains, not the most fertile of land on the entire planet. But people of Thessaly are tough. And you are a great king. And you come to this one place that has this risen sort of mountain that plateaus at the top flat. and you can't help but feel like you've seen it in a dream. Or you've seen... It reminds you of this it's like a smaller Olympus. That it has plenty of surrounding land at the base of it. It is not so high a climb that it's impossible to make to, but it would certainly make for a fine fortress at the top. And surrounding it is farmland. Not the best farmland, but fertile enough to sustain a decent population.
So, seeing that, feeling a slight resemblance to something that you've seen already, and maybe even a touch from Zeus to confirm. He orders the ship to land, and we need to gather all the refugees, bring them here. We shall make this a new place for all those displaced.
Reach to the top of the mountain, look down over it, and you are greeted by a man and a woman. The one man looks mortal, but you recognize him. His beard is not white, it is black. It is not godly in strength and force, but he looks rather like an old man with a familiar face. And he walks with a woman who is young enough to be his daughter, who has long brown hair brought into a single braid down around the side, who is similarly robed, and is pretty, but has stoic gray eyes and looks over the land. The old man looks at you, says, "You will have to go to them. You'll have to show them what we already know. And their priests tell them that you are King Orenda." The woman begins to point out certain things. The lands are fertile enough to grow grain in the winter. Houses can be made here and there. Walls can be taken from a quarry that you will find several miles to the east. You should build temples and line it with walls at the top. It will work as a place of piety and a place of fortress and strength. And there you can guide from on high a wise king. People will follow because wisdom will follow. And make war on your enemies who would stand in your way. Strike first and fast while you are building. The gods love you, and so you will be successful.
Orenda will bow his head.
The woman will say, "I request only one thing from you, and you will have all of the wisdom and knowledge you'll ever need to build this place. Once you have secured a city here, once people have migrated here, once walls have been built, and once the first temple is built on this high mountain, whoever you dedicate it to, summon the god of wisdom, summon the god of the sea, and let them prove to you who is worthy to guard this place, and name it for them."
That I can do. I will call upon them.
With that, so kind of epilogue here a little bit. Orendil, you travel, and the myth will tell, King Orendil traveled to the 50 cities. He raised banners of a new home. And you gathered more people than than one city could possibly hold. But you do gather others who are worthy to be kings. And they migrate to different parts of this land on the other side of the planet than none dared go before. As you lead the charge, you build a great city. People migrate to a great plain to the south, surrounded by mountain passes, and become a great warrior culture. People travel to the deep islands of the south and erect statues to the goddess of love. People travel north, past the pass, begin to create settlements there. People go to the mouths, cities begin to spring up all around, but all pay themselves homage to the city you built. Do you build a temple on the mountain as requested?
I do.
When you build it, two gods arrive, to the amazement of your people, and they allow you to sit in judgment of who is more worthy. One of the gods bears a great trident, and he strikes at the balcony at the edge of your temple. And as he strikes it, a great river flows through the city. It gives you the gift of water. Water that your city is already surrounded in. Water that flows through. Water of the salt of the sea, which is not drinkable. But it has its merits, surely. The armor-clad warrior woman drives her spear to the ground, and from it grows a tree. A tree that can provide food, a tree that can provide wood for homes, a tree that can provide a great many things. Thatch for roofs, leaves for spices. And it falls upon you to choose which god's gift is more worthy to the city, which is more helpful.
I think Miranda would lean towards the wisdom, using the tree for many facets of being able to use that within civilization and to build, to grow, to feed. So he would choose the god of wisdom.
This angers the god of the sea greatly. He leaves without threat or curse, but he leaves. And the people cry out to build a temple in his honor, that his rage may be abated. And would wish to. Some ways away from the city. They do. The goddess of wisdom thanks you. So, Rendell, what would you name this city after the goddess Athena, wisdom?
Athens.
And so Athens is born under the just rule of Rendell. Many cities grow up. They pay homage to Athens. As time goes on, Arendelle will present himself to be a wise and great king with the love of the gods, and will rule this place with all of the guidance of Athena, who stands at your side whenever you require. She helps guide you. Zeus does as well. You learn of law, as you've already had. You learn of rulership. You learn of wisdom. You learn of knowledge. Schools are grown up. Schools of philosophy are built. And a city to rival Thessaly's greatest city grows, all under the monarchy of Arendelle and under the wisdom of Athens. Eventually, Arendelle, surely you take a wife, and you do her great honor. And she does you great honor by bearing you sons, but none more great than one son who arrives, who perhaps in a slight, while is indeed your son in one right, is also the son of Poseidon in another. A boy appears to you one day, claiming to be your son, by the name of Theseus.
And how did you come about from Theseus? Tell me.
Theseus who resembles you, but admittedly also resembles the god you slighted once before. And, of course, your wife says, I was raised by a man in the woods some ways away from here. Well, actually, I was raised by a king some ways away from here, and he taught me of warriorship, he taught me of leadership, he taught me of you. And so I traveled here on my own free will. I met many things on my path. I met children of Poseidon who would seek to knock me off of my path, but I wrestled them and I proved the stronger. I met many trials and riddles and things that would stand in my way, but I was determined to meet you, Father. So, if you would acknowledge me, I would be loyal to you. I've come to Athens to understand who I am and to do your city proud, if you would have me.
As long as you have done what do you say you have done? You've been just and wise on your travels. Then I will welcome you into my home.
Theseus, son of Poseidon and Orendo, grows to become a very fine king, one of wisdom, one of rule, and one who helps you forge, if you would choose it, of course, a new path for the Athenian people. One that sees you indeed as its ruler, and Theseus then and thereafter as its ruler, but one that is democratic, one that begins to sow the seeds of democracy. And the kingdom of Arundel and Athens will live on forever in history. And so will his myth. On the other side of things, well, I will put forth, many temples arise to the Olympians, and it is many nights that you return to Callisto. For every day is a victory, and for those who show up at your door, it is to their ruin. And you send them with messages, the dragon of myth. But this city succeeds and grows. Every day it grows, so two of you succeeded. Every night, Lister comes to you.
Hey, dog. Okay.
Now, Blacketh. Meanwhile, you come to just the very place that you were told of by your new high priest. You come to a wasteland of death. You come to a place where the skies are dark, scorched with fire. You come to a place of darkness. You come to a place of violence. One that is not the violence and glory of war, but one that is unfettered, monstrous evil. You come to the mouth of a great tunnel. The servants of this god bow to you and welcome you in. And you come before... Sorry, I'm trying to set the scene a little bit here. Yeah, baby, that's right. That's the... Alright. Sorry. Okay. There you go. Here. You find yourself faced with great presence here in this cave. in the mouth of a magnificent, monstrous dragon skull. You hear words coming through. And you see within your mind's eye as these words come through the very will of Tiamat. The red dragon head, of course, appears first. She says,
Blacketh comes to my domain, seeking ever as she did the power to rule her people, to rule with my kin, my servants, my children. What do you offer, child?
What has our deal ever been? Why must
Black.
things change?
Because you have changed. You are not she, the Lich Queen. I have not been visited by Vlaakith in many long years, and so I shall carry the weight of you here. You come, and I will know what you offer.
I think she's gonna plan shift out. Fuck it.
okay.
Not a fucking thing. She's not gonna offer her a thing.
As you leave, red dragons were amongst you. And there is a terrible battle. As you leave and offer her nothing, unprepared, the red dragon's turn. Pact is broken. And your people, as Vlaakith or Tiamat feels insulted, turns her red dragons upon the Pith people. And a great battle occurs. Yet they're not wiped out, not by any measure, but is devastating. Much death follows, and the journey is terrible. But you finally come to great space with your people. Now, your scouts report to you of a couple of places to settle. There is Carrington, which is a waterless, extremely hot world, uninhabited, with temperatures as high as 600 degrees Fahrenheit.
No.
Say no. The next planet is much more possible to habitate, but still difficult. It is a violent, destructive storm world with seas filled with poison, and you know its source. Your warlord says to you that he rather likes this one, for it would do well to challenge the Gith amongst this dragon, slay it in vengeance for Tiamat's betrayal, and claim this world in a victory of battle. There is the last planet in the solar system, which is not as hot, not impossible to habitate by any measure. It is a violent earthquake volcanic world, which is Carrington was a world that was too close to the sun, and its entire surface was burned. Saeed believes this one, though it would be difficult to habitate, would be one that could be conquered. Difficult though it may be.
Let's
And
go
then there's
kill
the
the
last.
dragon.
Nothing else needs to be said. Plans are made. A way is devised to descend into the sea safely, or a way is to draw out the great green dragon. You, Saeed, and a team of elite warriors of Zerai and Yankee find their way into the seabed and fight and do terrible battle against this menacing green dragon and slay it. Its skull is yours as your first war trophy, your first conquest, and a fine point to put on your dominance of the sea, dominance of the sea world, of the storms. Your people come to habitate this world. It is not only sea, there is land. It is filled with great storms. But you're proud to see your people relish the challenge. That the violence of it does not deter them or bring them despair. It brings them challenge that they welcome. And as the great dragon is dead, poison recedes from the world. Your people make cities of stone that no wind could topple. Your people maybe take skiffs to the water to make these floating flotillas, sort of like cities that could, on a second, fly off and join into wild space, into aerial defense. Your people begin to build a world that is brawn, that is meant to stand with the tide of the darkest, most dangerous of storms, and to sail upon the riding, most violent waves and seas that Poseidon can muster against your people. And your people, like mad conquerors, conquer the elements themselves. There is death. There is not despair in it. There is trial, but there is not surrender in it. And for every time a Gith meets with Ethrith, they happily meet with Callistra 3 more do instead. And the Gith people learn to dominate the world of Skora. And it becomes the new Gith homeworld. How does Vlaakith lead? As the people are emboldened and drawn to your rule through victory over challenge, over conquest of a world unto itself. How does Vlaakith, how does she tell her people she can lead? Yeah.
I think that there's Githzerai society in some ways was sort of sectioned off to the things that you were good at, and those skills were honed. And well, I hate to think of it as caste, because caste is so often like this.
Yeah,
and
fair enough.
That's not at all the way she would see it. But for people who seemed artistic, she would want Varsh to encourage them towards architecture. Maybe there are home builders. For the people who are explorers, maybe they're off doing that. For the people who are raiders, maybe we have them not just working on patrols, but we have a list of enemies. And at this point, it's absolutely on site with chromatic dragons.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely on site with chromatic dragons. she would have looked to make an alliance with someone whose ideals were closer to her own.
Do you tell the Gith why Tiamat turned? Or do you spin a lie? And in fairness, I will say this, you have an oracle with you. Literally tell you the results of some of your actions. And this one, she will. Not all of them, but this one she will.
Okay. Because what I'm going to say, what is your feedback on this? Because this is how she sees it. At some level, she would have wanted some kind of slavery for the transportation and the might of our dragons. This is about unification. I don't think the Gith people should bend the knee for transportation when we have a pantheon of gods who can provide for us. But whatever feedback you can give me, because this is a lot.
Lister would tell you, if you told them the truth, which is basically, you showed up, Tiamat said, why should I continue this bargain? And you just left. Kind of turned her back to her and left, which was like a clear slight. He says, it'll be honest, but it will not earn you favor. She says, if you lie, as your words are, your words are guesses, but you're posing them as truth. If you lie to them, and you lie well, and paint Tiamat the enemy, you will still lose some, but marginal enough.
Then that is what we will do.
I would like you to roll me a deception check.
Motherfucker. Okay, I'm going to use that heroic inspiration because that is not going to fucking do it. That was a 3. Oh, we're not going to roll that dice again. Don't fuck me. Oh, that was better. That was a whole lot better. You said persuasion? No, deception.
Deception, yeah.
It's going to be the same. It's an 18, dirty 20.
Dirty 20. The people largely absorb the idea that Tiamat, you said she wanted some form of enslavement, and this is about freedom. They largely accept the fact that Tiamat asked for Gith enslavement. And they take it, and they are angered by it, and think Tiamat's turning of dragonkind upon them is requires revenge. And it fuels them, and you have given the Githyanki an enemy, which has always been Blacketh's issue. It's a need for an enemy. And so the Githyanki will begin, and some of the Zerai begin to paint themselves as dragon hunters, dragon slayers. They have Mind Flayer enemies, dragons, chromatic dragon enemies. Well, just dragon enemies, but Tiamat, so chromatic mostly, red especially. As it is clear, things are going to succeed with the Gith, that like kind of crest the hard part, the voyage is over, and your people start claiming homes. Maybe you like find a place, maybe like an island that juts from the sea, and you claim it to be like the fortress capital that will be your palace on this world, you receive a final message from Enurag, who will say, and essentially, and so my plans have succeeded. You are Vlaakith, which are not as they have been. In order for there to be Giths, the Githyanki must be forgotten, and the Githzerai must be forgotten. And so, I will finally release myself from life. Good luck.
Thank you.
And you feel presence of Enurag not leave you, but just let go. Enurag is a powerful psionic and used it to literally hold his body into an immortal, preserved life. And he just allows himself to sleep. So all of his powers for naught. Limbo is returned back to what it was, pure chaos. There's no Githzerai outposts there any longer, unless you would send Archons to establish them. The Githzerai would have an interest in at least bringing back the chaos stuff of Limbo that they may continue to build with their dreadnoughts, because it is a very malleable and powerful essence that they can manipulate.
I do not want to lose that skill. That is something that I would want to develop. Perhaps we do need to have a single outpost on Limbo, simply to be able to cultivate and such.
There is many cultural issues that you find yourself having to resolve. The Githyanki are used to being immortals, and some don't wish to be mortal, which is what would be required to live on this planet. And outposts perhaps are established in the Astral Sea. As Saeed agrees, where you have a potent military force of warriors who have created and managed their skill for centuries upon centuries, longer than the lives of elves, and to dispose of such expertise and assets for no other reason than philosophies he thinks is foolish. And so your people still take to the stars, and your people establish outposts where they can find them. Out in the Astral Sea, rocks there where training grounds are made, and perhaps the new purpose of the Knights, the Githyanki Knights, becomes to become these immortal astral warriors. And it's altered by Saeed to be less to seek. It's not true, I think. You know what? I'll leave it to you. I'm going to give you some points, and you can decide how you decide to solve them. Your advisors can tell you what they think. Saeed does not wish to relent in having warriors of millennia of experience at their side. It seems like a foolish waste of resource.
I agree.
However, the Githyanki Knights were promised a paradise by Vlaakith, and they need some reason to fight. More than just an enemy, but some divine reward. Your advisor, your oracle, from a religious perspective, simply says Elysium is a paradise. That requires them to die, which contrasts Saeed's wish to maintain them as a basically immortal warrior resource. So what do you do, Vlad? How do you address this concern?
They were never promised to live in paradise. There was always the understanding of ascendancy. Let them live as long as they would like. And when they are ready to ascend, they come to the planet.
And so it's enacted. I think Saeed puts forth that peaceful death should be a reward for great service. That you manage to balance maybe a best of both worlds in that sense, where you have this immortal warrior resource, and when one becomes such a great warrior to survive for so long and has done a magnificent and mythical feat for the Gith people. They're allowed to come to you, and you put them to rest. And they die in battle against you. And when they die with honors. They die as heroes to the Gith people, and they go to Elysium. And that becomes the new culture. The Gith Yankee want, those who were of the Gith Yankee, want an enemy. Dragons, great. A worthy adversary. Hard to find. Very hard to kill. The Mind Flayers, a worthy enemy, but unfortunately, you're a bit of a, or at least you're a victim of Blacket's success in that the Yankee have been very efficient in exterminating Mind Flayers, and they are hard to find. You need a more voluminous enemy.
How do we feel about the Scrow?
And so the Scroll are easily selected. Blacketh declares an age of war on Scrow people for their attempted dominion of the Astral Sea. And the Gith Yankee and Githzerai are happy to wage war with the Scrow people. And they are a worthy adversary. They are quite a worthy adversary. A mighty orc-like warrior race that is tactically skilled. It is a worthy warrior to face down at Gith. So the Scrow become engaged in war. Which brings to perhaps an interesting alliance. Arendil, in a neighboring planet. The Elven Armada surely shows up. You've been a long-time enemy of the Scrow. You surely, I'm sure, make alliance with the nearby planet of Flakith and make good relations with the Gith. And thus the Elven Armada are slowly brought to understand that the Gith have changed. And though they do not have the resources enough to fight the Scrow alone, they certainly can with the Gith at their side. And so Flakith, you find, perhaps it's not dragons, which is super fucking cool, but you have more centuries of age warriors and skilled, elves. What the fuck? There's not much better warrior race out there than the elves. Stand at your side as well. And maybe it's not as slick as dragons, but it is certainly a valuable asset. You gain the alliance of the Elven Armada, and they fight beside Gith people and forge a new age of peace and alliance between them. Vlaakith, you were told by Aphrodite to forge bonds between the Githzerai and the Yankee people through love. And you do, while the two people have been brought together under Gith, the old rivalries will persist. That's just how it is. You said a speech, and it has paved the way, but it has not paved the entire road. How do you intend to merge Gith, Yankee, and Githzerai people while maybe honoring their culture, maybe not? How do you intend to bring these two people together and make them a one people? Avoid civil war.
So that's where the building of temples is gonna, and the investment into culture. So like when Arendil created his city, he started with the temple district. Flakith will do the same. And she will guide the architects into developing a city that utilizes its artists and utilizes its scientists and utilizes its warriors, and there is a place of honor for all of them.
Okay.
And we're gonna hope the gods put it on their hearts, because I just lost in the dragons, so
You lost quite a few.
Not really
But
batting 1,000 here.
It's not easy to suddenly become the ruler of an entire race of individuals and make the right choices all the time. But you use the power of culture, you use their own power of artisticness with them, there is something artistic. You create schools of artisanship, and what follows schools of artisanship. Actually, you know what? You create schools of the artisanship where the Githyanki share their lore of the skill of the art with the Githzerai people, and the skill of art is respected as deeply as the skill of warriorship, which is where there was a division. Blacketh was like, okay, have a hobby, keep you busy while you're not fighting, but you honor the arts, and you have them indulge in the arts. Festus, Athena, and by expansion of craftsmanship leads into philosophy, leads into schooling, leads into these things, and perhaps some non-denominational or not taking from Yankee, specifically Orzerai, you sort of take a clump of them, maybe send them off to a faraway intern program with the city of Athens to learn what they know and bring what they know and share the ancient philosophies of the Githzerai people and the ancient arts of the Githyanki people, only enhancing the city of Athens and being blessed, and Athena becoming sort of perhaps a common god amongst the city-state of Athens and people of the Gith, a god of war, a god of craft, and a god of wisdom.
Yeah.
It isn't perfect. There are cities that prop up on your planet of Skora that are Githyanki and Githzerai, and there are some that are both. But it's going to take generations to wipe away the damage done by Flaccus and her predecessors. That's a start. It's a path in the right way. There are civil wars that break out that you're brought in to mediate and maybe even crush. But start moving in the right way. And you are visited often by Etherith. You fail. But then you are visited by Callisto. And you succeed from where you failed. You fail and you succeed. You fail and you succeed. You begin to learn that you are still a person, a monarch, but still a person. And you will lead the best you can. And you will fail, but then you will succeed. And Blacketh dies eventually, without becoming a lich, passes on the mantle to a worthy advisor, perhaps a worthy heir. And we find ourselves at the end of our campaign. Where Etherith, you linger in Hades in the underworld. I think you being the god of ruin, you surprisingly find yourself visited often by Ares, god of bloodlust and war and destruction, and find yourself in an uncanny way going to him, and him coming to you. And in many other ways, but you are independent. You are independent as Hecate is, and you're not under Zeus's direct rule.
I like to think that just on occasion, Etherith will be found lurking in Tiamat's domain, just kind of idly waiting for the inevitable day when the Gith assaults Tiamat and the great five-headed dragon falls.
You linger. And it is worth noting, Tiamat is an imprisoned god in hell.
Yeah.
Where you visited her wasn't like her domain. She was an archdevil under Asmodeus. And circumstances, was imprisoned. And thus lives in a state of ruin. And so perhaps you're there, teasing, mocking, there, present, waiting, whispering of even greater failings. And it is mutual. She has lost the faith of the Githyanki people. In that, you do not follow Tiamat anymore. Callisto resides over much. Etherith resides over much. You find a deep influx of Skro suddenly starting to find their way to your end of the path. You speak much to your mother of failure, of passing, of destruction, of failings, and you see many good people down your path. You see many bad people down your path. And life and the gods seem to favor good nor evil. Or simply, people choose their own path. And it often, more often than not, leads to you, in fact. And your horde grows great. All the deeds of failing. And all of those who, in their true failure, submits to you. That is true failure. Rendil is honored as always, the wise and first king of the Athenian people, father of democracy and the bringer of wisdom. And Blackness. Hold up, I'm gonna get your number out. Blacketh CLVIII. Is honored as, well, you'd be Vlakith 13th. I believe that is what the Roman numeral. No, the X is 10, so V, so you would be Vlakith 8. Vlakith 8 is brought in as a unifier, is brought in as a true believer in Gis, a bringer of the faith of Olympus, and is honored as a mortal. Time comes, she dies. And I will say, Blacketh dies to the blade of a Githyanki knight, who is honored by their chance at Elysium, as is the new way of the knights. After doing a great deed, you come in and you die by the hand of God. Blacketh does not die of old age. She dies in battle, one of her honored knights. And it is this honored knight, in his shock, who becomes the new Vlakith. And so, Arendelle, as you will certainly live longer than her, see this tradition beginning to come down. The next knight who performs worthy, great service for the Gith people, who is honored and approved of by Vlakith to come before them and face them in battle, and then succeeds and proves they have the might and will enough to do so. So the Vlakiths. The Gith people slowly start to meld into one. And before your time ends, great space is recovered. The Olympians have grown strong with prayer. And all of you, in your myths, are honored forever. In wild space, the astral sea, the halls of gods, Arendelle becomes an Elysian spirit. In his afterlife, is brought before the three judges of the underworld and is waved along for his many great deeds and prosperities. And you dwell with the heroes forever as one of their greats. Vlakith, for the first time, as Vlakith step into the halls of Mount Celestia, and is honored, welcomed to dwell there, as she has been accepted by Bahamut, Platinum Dragon, and the enemy of Tiamat, god of rulership, god of kingship, god of protection, god of honor. And so brings it into our camp. Well done, guys. What? Wow.
I like the
really
idea of Bisan being an avatar of Bahamut somewhere
Well,
with a
listen,
lightsaber.
this is how that's how angels are born. When a worthy soul comes before, goes to their afterlife, and they don't want to just dwell in Paris, they want to be of service. The god will make them into a deva, a messenger herald, and then, if they do well, into a planetar. And perhaps there is an angel that makes its way around. I imagine at a certain point in history, centuries later, the point where the name of Basan and maybe even of Vlakith is forgotten. There is one planetar under the service of Bahamut who has great white feathered wings, who has this azure blue skin and long silvered hair, and bears a great sword, which his blade is built pure celestial light and fights in the name of Bahamut against tyranny, darkness, and any evil dragon would dare cross it.
Hell yes.
Very nice.
She became an angel. I love it.
Hell yeah. Good job, guys. Good God. Definitely it wasn't how I saw this campaign ending. I didn't.
No,
One of
but
them becomes a god of the fucking Olympian pantheon. One becomes a warrior angel, Bahamut, and Black at the League of Decay. I could have seen that one coming actually a little bit. And then Arendelle, like a champion of Zeus. I didn't. I didn't know the Greek pantheon was gonna have such an impact on this game. I was
Yeah.
like Hecate and Artificer. Bright Space is technologically advanced, and they worship the Olympians. Great, we'll have a little side arc there.
I mean, Hecate was a dice roll with Vosh because it was like
Yeah, I remember.
it was a background feature of like, choose a god who like you met in the astral sea. I'm like, okay, oh, like a Hecate, there we go.
Yeah, we're like, oh, cool Hecate.
I mean, for me, I think due to the storyline, when that came about, obviously the change to the paladin it seemed apt at that time due to the story way we got. So I think that was, it was just at the right time, to be fair. So yeah, it was good. I enjoyed that. Listen, thank you very much for having me as a player. It's been a pleasure.
I hope we will see you in December or January when your schedule allows.
Yeah.
Yes, hopefully is going to be around about the time, most probably when I'm going to be available back again. So yes, I will give you